Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Radiantly Feminine podcast, where we embrace elegance, confidence, and the power of true femininity. I'm your host, Mookie. So, whether you're looking to refine your presence, elevate your mindset, or even navigate relationships with ease, this is going to be your space to grow and glow. So, sit back, relax, and let's unlock your feminine power together. Hello, my lovely listeners, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm so glad you're here with me today because this episode is all about dating with intention, not just casually going through the motions or letting anyone and everyone have access to you, but instead approaching dating as a sacred part of your self-investment journey. And I'm super excited about this. I think this might be one of my favorite episodes because I was just so full of ideas when I was like, okay, let me talk about this today. So, if you've ever found yourself exhausted from situationships, drained by people who don't meet you where you are, or wondering if there's a healthier, more feminine way to approach love, then this episode is for you. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, I do want to start off by talking about what it truly means to date with intention. Dating with intention is about moving away from autopilot and away from saying things like, let's just see where this goes. And instead, you step into clarity. It's all about knowing what you value, what you're open to, and what you will no longer entertain. So, hopefully, this episode will give you the clarity that you need to help you align with what you truly desire. Because I was someone who was dating casually and I was fine with it. Now, I'm not saying casual dating is bad because you have to do what feels right for you. Don't do things just because someone else says you should or because you think you have to. If you try to operate that way, it pulls you away from your authentic self, if that makes sense. Now, for me, I wanted better for myself because there was no true intention with my dating. I just knew that I liked getting dressed up and going out on dates. I was heavily using dating apps. I had a roster lined up. I didn't see a problem at first. But as time went on, I realized two things. One, the dates never really progressed like I wanted them to. And two, I was wasting so much of my time and energy on people that I didn't even know or even like. I decided I wanted to be more exclusive and more selective with my energy. And I knew that it was a privilege to get to know me. It was an honor to get to know me and be in my presence, but my actions weren't reflective of that. And it was until I talked with a friend and she helped me to see things more clearly. She quite literally helped me raise my standards in dating. It did take some trial and error, I will admit that, but I had to work on myself first before I could see some real change in my dating style and who I was dating. I had to stop partaking in old and unhealthy habits, and I had to start choosing what aligned with my goals. Um, I like to think of dating intentionally like financial investing. I won't throw my money into any random stock. Instead, I take my time to research, then I align my investments with my goals, and then I expect a return. I use that comparison to depict how your time and energy and heart are even more valuable than money itself. So, why not treat them with the same care? Intentional dating allows you to see each interaction as part of your self investment journey. Whether someone stays in your life or not, the time you spend should leave you enriched, not depleted, not drained. And like I said, I had to go through trial and error. I had to change my habits and choices in order to experience different outcomes because we all know doing the same thing over and over again while expecting different outcomes is insanity. I made a lot of life changes that I am super proud of. I actually remember I auditioned to be a contestant on The Bachelor. I was super excited. The interviews went so great, but I had to take a step back and realize I didn't want to be one of the 30 women who was chasing after one guy. That was going to quite literally take me out of my feminine energy and require me to chase and compete for one man. And if that's not cringy, I don't know what is. And it's nothing against the show. The Bachelor and The Bachelorette are actually the only reality shows I can stand to watch. But I would never want to be with a man who required me to step out of my feminine energy in order to get a chance at love with him. Now, here's the thing. Dating isn't about auditioning for someone else. It's about investing in yourself. I'm going to say that again. It's about investing in yourself first. I've said this so many times. You cannot pour from an empty cup. I was actually driving to work this morning and I was thinking heavily about this topic. I've come to the realization that the desperation to be in a relationship has been so normalized that people view relationships like some type of cure-all. I see people getting into relationships back to back to back rather than taking the time to reflect on what went wrong and try to heal from their heartbreak. It's like people cannot stand being alone and being by themselves. And I see people getting with someone else, hoping it will magically heal them from the pain of their past. And they'll forever be happy because they have their one true love in their life now. But the truth is, if you don't heal from what hurt you, you're doomed to repeat it. If you don't change your unhealthy habits, you're going to be met with the same outcomes, just with different people. And just because you change the person doesn't automatically mean you've changed your life. It may just mean you're running from your problems and trying to fix it with a band-aid. And I think that this type of desperation can be very dangerous unless you're investing in yourself. And when you start investing in yourself, you're going to have to establish your non-negotiables so when someone new comes along, you'll know what does and doesn't work for you. You'll then have to take the time to discover your love languages and your emotional needs. This will provide you with more clarity, which will turn your dating style from casual to intentional. And lastly, you're going to need to start practicing self-care so you can stop putting yourself in a position to look for someone to rescue you from your loneliness. And when you invest in yourself, you will naturally raise your standards. You'll stop settling for crumbs because you've already created a full, abundant meal for yourself. And you can try asking yourself, does this person add to the life I've already built? After you've already started pouring into yourself and gone on your self investment journey, you can ask, does this person add to the life I've already built? Or do they take away from it? That's one of the most powerful self investment questions you can carry with you. And I ask myself this question whenever I accept someone new into my life. And that just helps me to better use discernment to see if this person actually fits in my life or if I'm acting out of a place of desperation or fear or lack or any any of the above. Now, I want to tie this back to feminine energy because, that's what the whole podcast is about. Feminine energy in dating is about receiving, it's about embodying your magnetism and using discernment. It does not mean you have to be passive, but you do have to make sure you're being selective. I want you to take yourself out of the chasing position and start choosing. When you lean into your feminine energy, you start to allow yourself to be pursued, but you will have to use your discernment and listen to your intuition. You will be able to pay more attention to patterns and actions and not just words because when you are just paying attention to someone else's words and not their actions, you are making yourself more susceptible to love bombing and future faking, which both lead to unhealthy emotional attachments. And you will be able to understand that your softness is powerful versus looking at your softness as a weakness. And you'll be able to understand that your boundaries are an act of self-love and not a form of isolation. And this is where intention and feminine energy meet. This is that middle ground where they meet. So once you've gotten your feminine energy and intention to meet in that middle ground, you now know what you desire. You are now capable of communicating it with clarity, and you stand firmly in your worth while still remaining open to love. And when you lead with your feminine energy, that's when your dating life transforms. It's no longer about proving or chasing or auditioning for love. Instead, it becomes about receiving and attracting it and allowing love to meet you where you already are. So, ladies, let this be a reminder to use your feminine energy to teach you how to date intentionally by choosing and not chasing. Because when you choose rather than chase, your higher self whispers to you, you are the prize. You don't need to run after anyone. You are here to choose who gets access to you and your heart. You need to recognize that chasing drains you, but choosing empowers you. Then start listening to your body and intuition, because feminine energy thrives in intuition. That little nudge in your spirit, or that gut feeling, or that ease that washes over you when someone or something feels safe. Those signals are all your inner compass. They are your higher self's way of keeping you aligned with love that feels nourishing and not draining. You'll also need to receive with openness, because dating with intention doesn't mean you build walls. It means you remain open to receiving attention, to receiving effort and love, while staying rooted in your discernment. You can enjoy being courted, being seen, and being valued without attaching your worth to the outcome of what is going to happen with this potential romantic connection. And when you embody your feminine energy, you are allowing space for alignment, because feminine energy is not rushed. It knows that clarity reveals itself over time. So, dating with intention means giving yourself permission to move at a pace that honors you, instead of collapsing into urgency or scarcity or even fear. And I want you to know that your feminine energy also helps you to date intentionally by reminding you to honor your boundaries as if they are sacred. Your boundaries are not walls, they're invitations. When you say no to what doesn't serve you, you're actually creating sacred space for what does. And your feminine energy turns boundaries into acts of self love, and that is the deepest form of intentional dating. So remember, your feminine energy doesn't just make dating softer, it makes dating wiser. When you show up rooted in your feminine energy, you're not searching for love out of lack or desperation. You're allowing love to meet you where you are at. And I don't want to end this episode without giving you all some practical steps you can start doing today. Number one, set a pre-date intention. This means before going on your next date, ask yourself, what do I want to learn about myself and about this person tonight? This will help you shift the focus from trying to impress them to staying present with your own growth. And feel free to come up with your own question as long as you are setting a pre-date intention. Step number two, create a reflection practice. So after your dates, try journaling using this prompt, and I'll leave this prompt in the episode's description just in case you need to come back to it. The prompt is, did I feel seen? Did I feel safe? Did I feel energized or drained? And this reflection is an act of self-investment. Step number three, communicate with grace. Intentional dating doesn't mean being harsh or guarded. It means being honest while remaining kind. If someone isn't for you, let them go without feeling guilty or needing a reason to. It just doesn't feel right to you, and that's reason enough. Number four, stay rooted in your own life. This is important because this means keep your friendships, your hobbies, your routines, keep all of that sacred. Don't abandon yourself or your life just because someone new enters the picture. A healthy partner adds to your life, they don't replace it. And I feel like I made a full episode about this. Oh yeah, this was when I first started the podcast, but I made an episode of how to decenter men while you're in a relationship. So it was basically about centering yourself, and just remembering that you have a life outside of this new person can go such a long way, because you're still remaining the center of your universe rather than placing someone else on your pedestal. Step number five, redefine success. A successful date isn't only when you find the one, because not every date is going to be the one. Not every person you meet is going to be the one. You only have one person, just like you are not meant to be everybody's soulmate. So a successful date is when you walk away with clarity, whether that means a second date or a lesson learned. You're walking away with some type of clarity. So try to redefine what success in dating means to you. And I want to say I do make an effort to share tips with you all because I know that it's one thing to hear advice and another to embody it. But when you're given something that you can actually use to practice, I think that holds more weight than just listening to me talk. And this isn't about following rules, it's about training your spirit to align with love and things that you desire. And when you do put all of these practices into motion, three things will actually happen. The first thing that will happen is you'll start to rewire your patterns. Like I talked about what happened with me, I had to change my old habits, and this is how I did it. I had to rewire my patterns by implementing the steps that I just stated for you guys. And without intention, dating will become a cycle of repeating old lessons. You'll find yourself in the same types of connections, wondering why nothing changes, but each intentional step you take rewrites that story, and you start to teach your heart and mind a new way to experience love. The second thing that will happen is you strengthen your self worth. And it's important that you know that your self worth isn't just a feeling, it's a practice. Every time you set a boundary, reflect after a date, or choose someone who aligns with you instead of someone who's just available in the moment, you're building muscle memory for your worth. You're saying to yourself, I matter and I honor that. And the third thing that will happen is you will align with your higher self vision of love. Now, your higher self already knows the type of love that you deserve. And I say that to say these tips aren't random. They're actually tools that bring your daily choices into harmony with that vision, and they keep you rooted in abundance instead of scarcity, clarity instead of confusion, and love instead of fear. So, practicing these steps or these tips is not about perfection, it's about devotion, it's about commitment, and devotion to yourself, devotion to your growth, and devotion to the version of you who refuses to settle for less than intentional love. And if you walk away with anything from this episode, I want you to know that dating is not a test of your worth. It's a mirror of your self investment. If you ever feel anxious about why someone isn't texting you back, pause and remind yourself, I am the prize. My time, my heart, and my energy are all valuable. Because when you truly believe that, the way you show up starts to change, and so does the kind of partner you attract. And when you shift into that I am the prize mindset, it's the heart of intentional dating and feminine energy. I actually made this episode because I want to see more women move from scarcity and self doubt into embodying self worth and self celebration. And this starts with reframing self worth as inherent rather than treating it like it's something that is earned. You are already worthy before anyone chooses you. Love doesn't add to your value, it only reflects what's already there. In other words, you need to shift from dating like it's a performance to practicing discernment. And this will sound like you going from saying, I need to impress them to, do they deserve to have access to me? It's also really important to celebrate your wholeness and not focus on your lack. You do this by focusing on what you already are abundant with in your life, like friendships, creativity, your joy, your peace. This is why I love gratitude journaling because it's a constant reminder of all the things that I already have. And when you see your life as full, you'll start to date from overflow and not desperation. And that type of energy is magnetic. I want to go back to your boundaries for a second because your boundaries can actually serve as a reminder or evidence of your worth. I think that many women fear setting boundaries because they don't want to scare someone away, but you can reframe boundaries as proof of being the prize. A prize is rare, valuable, and protected. And like I stated earlier, it should be a privilege to know you. It's an honor to know you. So when you hold your standard, you're teaching others how to honor you as well. I would like to encourage you guys to try practicing mirror affirmations too, because this helps you retrain your subconscious to embody your worth that's already there. And the last thing I want to say before ending this episode, and it's probably one of the most important pieces of information I share today because this can be applied to pretty much any situation. I want you all to learn how to detach from outcomes, because when you are attached to the outcome, you are quite literally attaching your worth to the outcome. And when the outcome doesn't happen the way you wanted it to, your sense of self worth takes a hit, unfortunately. So instead of thinking things like, does he like me? You can start wondering if you even like how you feel around him. And this subtle shift keeps you centered in your power instead of outsourcing your worth to someone else's attention. And remember this, you are not here to beg for crumbs. You are the feast. You are not auditioning for love. Love is auditioning for you. And only those who can handle the depth of your heart and the abundance of your spirit deserve a seat at your table. So, dating with intention is really about honoring yourself at the highest level possible. It's the practice of saying, I'm not just looking for love, I'm building love from within. And anyone I allow into my life must honor that foundation. And when you treat dating as an extension of self investment, you'll notice two things happen. You waste less time and you attract deeper, healthier connections. I'll leave you with this today. When you know your worth, you stop entertaining anything that makes you question it. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. If today's episode resonated with you, be sure to share it with a friend who needs this reminder, and let's continue building a life rooted in joy, clarity, and love. And if you haven't already done so, please go ahead and follow the podcast, rate and review, and leave a comment, because this is a community for women to grow and learn from each other. So please leave your thoughts and in the comments. I will definitely be sure to respond. But until next time, stay soft, stay intentional, and always invest in you. And I'll talk to you next week. Bye.